Going. It's Friday, and I want to know what's on your mind. This show is about real people, real issues, having a real conversation every Friday. And with that said, we'll start with the introduction. Anyone can jump in and take the lead.
I'm Rachel Lauren Wade. I'm a life coach, business coach, and I coach coaches all around the world, internationally. I coach, and I help people achieve their dreams. So therefore, I live my dream by sailing a boat around the world, and trying to teach people, you can live your dreams, whatever your dreams are, and that's what I do.
Awesome. All right. Okay, Barbara, go ahead.
Wow, Rachel, that sounds exciting. I'm Barbara. I'm Barbara Keaton, and I am by day. I do community outreach and intergovernmental affairs as a consultant for the nation's second largest transit agency, and by night I am a romance author. I write African American romance.
Oh, fabulous!
Fantastic.
Book
I'll be
number
picking your
13
brain.
dropped. Yes, feel free. You talk about the dream coming true. That was one of my dreams. So.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Well, welcome, ladies. Welcome. Well, we will get right into it to start the show. Our first question of discussion is, what do you think about the federal government sending Homeland Security into Portland? Do you think this will become a state-to-state issue? Let me hear your thoughts. Who wants to jump in on that one?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
When I first saw that the government had been sending in, and it was so covert sounding. I mean, all of it just had this super overly air of superiority. It had this overly air of military. And it made me think about how our country was even founded, because our country was founded really based on violence, and our country was founded, as a military, kind of by force. If we look back at the historical context of it all. So when I heard that people had been just snatched off the street, and I'm thinking, but this is supposed to be the United States of America.
Yes.
You would never really assume anything like that would happen in the USA, because we'd always heard it happening in other countries that, to be honest, America thought they were ahead and themselves above those type of actions. So to see it on home soil caused me to pause big time.
Yeah. Did it stir up any other emotions in you, like just the whole shock of it? It's like
the shock. And you know what? Honestly, what it made me remember, there was a group of men. They were like paramilitary about 20 years ago, Ruby Ridge or something like that, and they were kind of held up in mountains and were very anti-government. But they had kind of the same ring to them that this current militarization has. While they were anti-big government and you can't tell me what to do, and anti-this, to me, there was no difference. I think the only difference is that at the time they were very anti-government. But now this is anti-protest.
I know, right. Just out of control. Rachel, what do you think?
Oh gosh, I agree with Barbara full-heartedly on that. The emotion of what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
We are in America. We have our First Amendment freedom of speech for a reason. And to stand up and have our own beliefs and protest and all of these things, and people just disappearing, being taken, something's wrong.
Right.
And I have to ask, how I've asked myself this very question with everything from the whole thing, from pandemic, everything that's going on. When is enough enough?
Yes.
When do we as people turn and say, my voice matters and I've got to do something about it? And I feel and it's scary, but I feel like we keep getting pushed as people
back.
Yeah. And what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want it to happen, but I feel like this kind of momentum creates revolutions, creates, civil wars.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's scary right now. This kind of behavior goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are we a democracy?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this something else?
I think we had started to lose the democracy when, what is this, maybe the fourth time that the Electoral College has selected a president. So I think we lost the democracy a long time ago,
Yeah.
but people don't pay attention to that. It just kind of snowballed.
Exactly.
People tended to get into their boxes. We all do it. I'm guilty sometimes. We all kind of get in our own boxes.
Yeah.
And as long as you haven't encroached on my box, I'm okay.
Yeah. Right.
But we got to step out of these boxes if we're going to literally save our democracy, because that's what the country, aside from the violence that it took to find it, that the country was founded with.
Yes.
Our country was also founded by the founding fathers who were fighting against an oligarchy, a dictatorship from Britain.
From Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because you're in Britain now. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Right.
But examine history.
Yes.
And remember the civics class and the history class in high school, and you got to talking about the founding fathers and the very premise. But also during that founding, the Electoral College was created.
Yeah.
But what's also really valuable here is our whole democracy was based on balance. Two parties, two different ideas, discussion. So it never went one way or the other. And right now, we're out of balance.
Totally out of balance. And Rachel, I've got a question. Since you have a daughter, has she been privy to look at some of this that's been happening in the news, and how do you discuss this with her at all, or have you had a chance to have a conversation with her?
Not on this particular topic. We haven't, because of where we are in the situation of us being quarantined, kind of thing. In the same way, this is kind of like an injustice, it feels like. But even though we're not sick, we're stuck here. And so I have, with everything going on, trying to get out of the quarantine, trying to see what leverage we have as a people in this situation. I haven't sat down with this situation, but I'll tell you, the last few months have been extremely, for a preteen, she's a preteen, have been really emotional for her.
Wow.
I mean, lots of tears, lots of I don't understand. Even the past election, and she was much younger, obviously, she had friends that were worried about being deported. And the whole issue of that. So the last few years with the government, it's been really stressful on our young people, even because
across the board.
Half her friends in school at that time were all Hispanic or Asian, and she was like, I'm gonna lose all my friends, Mom. They're all good, because they don't understand.
Right.
They hear the little pieces of what's going on, and then the issues of the fighting, the riots, those things. She's like, Mom, in San Bernardino County during the riots during COVID, building went down, burned down, big factory building. They're like, oh no, we think it was a gas leak. Well, was it really a gas leak? For a child that sees that, they're like, riot, gas leak, so it's really creating an interesting turmoil for our youth. I think that are aware, the ones that are aware. The other ones that are stuck in their video games may not know anything. But it's
just devastating. It's just devastating.
It really is. But you mentioned, Rachel, you talked about the whole issue of the deportation. I always look at when I'm being bombarded by one issue, there's something else. There's something else going on. And
Yeah.
that one issue is the shiny, the shiny
Yeah,
bauble. And we're going to all pay attention to the shiny bauble. No, don't look over here. Look right here, right? And I look at it and go, wait a minute. The first people on U.S. soil were immigrants. They were natives of the land. So what is
Exactly.
really going on?
Right.
We have yet to see it. It'll come out. You know how history is anyway. It'll eventually come out. But right now, we don't know why this uh, um, this whole issue surrounding deportation and the Hispanic
Yeah.
Latina ex.
Latina. Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a shiny bauble, but something else is going on.
Something behind it. Yeah.
Something
You
else
know,
is going on.
I'm in alignment with Barbara again on this one, because I think this whole last year has been like this shiny bubble. Keep looking over here.
Right.
Whatever I'm doing, don't look at what's behind my back. Pay no attention on the man behind the curtain kind of.
Right.
And that's really the scary part of it. And we won't know the effect of this until years down the line, when we look up and say, what law happened? What can't I do now? What is going on? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Oh, that's why the voting is so important right now.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're going to go right into this next question. Speaking of that, do you think felons who have served their sentence should be able to vote?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you expand upon that?
Yes.
Yeah.
For one, to be able to vote, period, to me is not necessarily a right, but it is a privilege. And I understand that a lot of people don't get politicians, those running for office, what it really means. And I think we are at a precipice where we need to start to really saturate and talk about what the people who are running for these offices really, what it means, and what it means when you do not go and vote. But let's go to the felons, because I'll start there. My sorority, we literally do voter registration in the jails for those who are about to be adjudicated for a crime. You have not yet committed this crime. You're in that, kind of. I'm about to tell my Catholic. You're in the purgatory, before you get your sentence. And so it's telling their rights. But once you're adjudicated and you serve your crime, as you are sentenced and you finish serving your time, I was always taught that that's your debt to society. You have now paid your debt to society. So why are you taking away what I think belongs to everybody should be able to participate in? Why would you take that from them? You've already served your time, haven't you? So why is there this additional punishment?
Yeah, it makes no sense, right?
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
But it's like so many other things, right? It's like taking a child and saying, yeah, you're going to be grounded for the rest of your life because you ate what you shouldn't have eaten, or you did the thing you weren't supposed to do, whatever your rules are. But you don't just have to wait till you're 18. You're punished for the rest of your life for what you did wrong. We don't even do that with kids, right? You get in trouble, you get punishment, and then trust has to be built, but you get out of it, and you
get
grow.
an opportunity to try again.
Yeah, and taking voting away is just stripping somebody of their humanity even more. So it's like how hard it is for them to get a job after.
Right.
You know, all these things. So what do they have left?
Mhm.
Well, I guess I'm not a human. I don't belong here. So what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
They have no choice sometimes. I feel like they're left in the lurch, and we don't even treat them like humans with the right to vote. Well, how are they going to feel? How are they going to treat the rest of society? They don't belong because we treat them like they don't belong. That
Exactly.
sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't even treat them like they're citizens. It didn't matter that they had served their time for whatever
Yeah.
crime that they committed. you
Right.
know.
And Barbara, I had a question for what you and your sorority sisters do.
Yes.
With what you guys do you also take into the account when the felons still have to pay a payment for that's also associated with their time served? Do you guys get involved with that to help get that cleared up so that they, that won't be held, they won't be held accountable for that as well? Do you guys?
We haven't gotten that far into it. Like I said, we go into the jail system, and the jail system is that holding. That's between the time that you have been arrested and you're being held until you're going to trial for your crime, and you're either found guilty or innocent. So we come in during that in between, because people in jail can vote. They don't know it. And it's amazing
Exactly.
how often we've gone into the jail and they go, I can vote while I'm here.
Wow.
You have not been you have not been charged with a crime yet.
Right.
So yes, you can vote.
How many men or men and women do you think that are in that situation that they don't know that they can vote? I mean, it's got to be in the thousands. I mean, if you look at the span of across the country, unless, well, every state has their own laws and things like that too. Yeah, just wondering like how many people that's affecting. Yeah, just.
Well, let's say we go into the jail
Mhm.
during the height, because we try to do it during the height of a major campaign for voter registration.
Yeah.
And so we'll run that 2 to 3 months prior to an election, because you have to stop at a certain time registering people to vote, and go into the jail, say 3 times, and maybe 30 or 40 women, and multiply that. And so if we go 3 or 4 times and we see 30 or 40 women,
Right.
Wow.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and it just keeps trickling up. Just.
And because we're a sorority, we don't do the men. We go to the women's jail.
What state do you do this at?
This is in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, in my home state, my home city, actually. Yeah, in Chicago. Okay, well that's good because Chicago is definitely in need of some added love. So much appreciating what you guys do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Much appreciate it.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, I didn't even know. So Barbara, this is fantastic information to know.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, and I know that sometimes the whole voter registration laws and policies may differ from state to state, but here we can register individuals to vote, and they can vote. They can vote while they're in jail.
That's awesome.
That's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how does that work? So who physically gives them the ballot? How does that happen? Just where do they get the ballots? So someone walks in the jail and present them with the ballots and say, today is election day and you can go ahead and.
I don't know. I would have to ask.
Okay.
See, I'm on that flip end where I'm registering individuals to vote, or because I'm a deputy registrar, so I'm either registering you to vote for the first time, which is exciting to me, or I'm helping you change your information so that you can register, so you can vote in whatever the upcoming election is.
I'm just curious on how that flow through of the process, because we have to make sure your job is fantastically important, but after that, how does that happen to ensure that they're actually getting an opportunity to vote? That's
I'm gonna ask because one of my sorority sisters actually works at the jail. So
okay.
that's how, that
Mm.
helps give us our entree there. So I'm gonna ask, do they have, is it a mail-in,
Yeah.
like an absentee ballot? I'm gonna have to ask her. That's a good question because based on what you just said, we need to make sure that follow through goes
Right.
directly to the
Right.
individual casting
And this
a ballot.
election is so dire important. So
Yep.
it's so important. So important.
It is.
But you know what's funny that you say that?
Mhm.
A lot of people still think that our current president won by the popular vote, that he was voted in. And I was like, no, people.
No.
He,
Right.
she, Hillary Clinton beat him not by a couple of hundred, not by a couple of thousand, but what, a couple of million?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did not get the electoral vote.
Votes. Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
And Barbara, you're so right because very few people understand what the popular vote is versus the electoral vote. It's very different.
Yes.
And I no offense to high schools and things, but I think it's explained. Maybe the students aren't listening, but there is this big gap.
Right.
The population didn't hear that lesson in school. So we have this big gap that they think that if the president won, it was a popular vote. It's not.
It's not.
It's your it's your immediate it's just so that's so important.
And you do know the history of the Electoral College.
Yes. Yeah. We just had a show discussing that as well. So
my God.
I know.
I attribute it to they just didn't want Joe Farmer to be president.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. What would you like to learn on your own?
Learn how to speak another language.
Yes.
It's brilliant. I mean, that's such a good thing because I was going to say the same thing. But if we think about it's been proven to help slow down any Alzheimer's, any brain issues that you might have, because learning a foreign language creates our new synapses.
Oh, wow.
And keeps our brain working.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really beautiful, positive thing that you said that, Barbara. But it is. I have it on my list. I got to learn Spanish. I grew up in Southern California. I don't know Spanish. I took French. How silly was that?
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Barbara. Let's learn Spanish together, not necessarily on our own.
Barbara, is that the language of your interest, or?
No, actually, the language is one of the romantic languages. Italiano. Italian.
Italian. Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
All right.
I'd love to learn Italian.
Okay. Awesome.
And I met some kids years ago at one of the academy schools here, and they were speaking conversational Mandarin, and I went,
wow.
Right. And you know what that is.
Impressive.
When they're in class, they can't speak anything but.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Wow. Rachel, did you say Spanish is something that you would want to learn?
Yes, I want to learn Spanish.
Okay.
I haven't learned that. but and it's so funny. Southern California kid, never learned it. So I'll be working on that. But Italian and actually Spain Spanish is very close. So if I learn, yeah.
Yeah.
Close. Not very close, but it's close.
Close. Yeah.
When I was in high school is when I learned that there was a difference between Spanish, and all the other.
Because the accent and where all that is so different. It's just so different. And we all put it together as being the same, which isn't correct.
Right.
It's like English.
Yeah.
If you try to spell something in Britain the American way, or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, they're going to laugh at you.
Right. Exactly. So in wrapping up the show, any words of encouragement that you would like to share with our audience?
Vote. Please vote. I think this election is really whatever you vote for, I have to say, I think our nation, with what's going on from the beginning of this conversation to the end, get out there, whether it's ballot, absentee ballot, whatever you have to do to stay safe.
Yes.
Vote. Please vote.
Barbara?
Everybody's vote is important.
Yes.
I want people to continue to have their voices heard. But I want the government to really respect what that First Amendment gives. And being able to have this discourse and to have this varying opinions. I don't learn from being rote and staying in a lane. I have to come out of my box, and coming out of my box teaches me an awful lot. And I may not like a lot, but I do seek to understand just about everything.
That is so wonderful, ladies. So wonderful. Now, I want you guys to tell us, where can people find you through social media? Rachel, let's start with you. Where can people find you on social media?
So you can look at RachelLaurenWadeLifeCoach.com or RachelLaurenLifeCoach.com, or also on Facebook, Rachel Lauren Life Coach, and Heads and Tails Coaching are my two Facebooks, and you can find me there. I'm also on Instagram. That Facebook's more used. Thank you.
Awesome. Barbara, what about you? Where can people
find me? At Facebook, Barbara Keaton. You can also find me in Twitterville. I've just started to kind of be a twit. That's a British saying. I grew up watching lots of BBC. And I don't do Instagram a lot, but I am in Twitterville and on Facebook. My website is under construction, but one day it'll be up soon. But that's barbarakeaton.net.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being a part of the show, What's on Your Mind. Please tell your network as well to find us on the YouTube channel, subscribe, comment, and share. We would love to hear from any and everyone. So I thank you, ladies. We will keep you posted and let you know when this episode will be posted out. Okay?
Well, thank you for the invitation. I've enjoyed it. And Rachel, it's been great meeting you. I'll look you up. I'll friend you.
Yes, please. Thank you, Barbara. Oh, it's so fun. Thank you.
Make the connection. Make the connection. All right, ladies. Have a wonderful evening and a great weekend.
You too.
You too. Okay. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.